Welcome to All Things Greater Burlington, where you will hear from the movers, shakers, and changemakers that are moving Greater Burlington forward. Here is your host, Steven Brody.
Welcome to All Things Greater Burlington. It's a pleasure to have with us today owner and operator for Mann's McDonald's, Michelle Mann Caston. And I'm sure many of you are just waiting to hear all of those wonderful secrets about McDonald's, which she probably will not be able to share with us. But anyway, Michelle, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Why don't we just get to know you real quick? Mann's McDonald's. Obviously, you've got a couple locations here in Burlington, but just before we went on the air, you said you actually have more than 2 locations.
Yeah, we do. We own 7 locations, all in Southeast Iowa.
Okay.
So we have Fort Madison, the 2 in Burlington, Mount Pleasant, Fairfield, and 2 in Ottumwa.
Wow. All right. And how long have you been in the franchise business?
Well, I grew up in the business.
You have, okay.
I'm sure most people know my mom, Donna, who's still active in the business and active in town here in Burlington. But my parents actually started in 1989. They got their first franchise in Oklahoma, which is where I grew up.
Okay.
And then in 97, we sold the 2 there in Wagner and Tahlequah and moved up here to Burlington to buy the 2 in Burlington and the 1 in Fort Madison from Tom Kane.
Okay.
So the first time I ever worked at McDonald's, I was 11, which was in Oklahoma.
You could do that at 11?
Well, it's like child labor. It's like when you have you're a farm family and the kids work on the farm. It's kind of the same thing, and That definitely doesn't matter. Yeah, I emptied ashtrays.
Sorry, don't want to get anyone in trouble.
Nobody's in trouble. I emptied ashtrays, cleaned the bathroom, and kept the lobbies tidied. my first job. So I think that was in 95. So then they own the restaurants in Burlington and Fort Madison. And then sometime later, I joined them in 2009.
Yeah.
And went into what they call the Next Generation program.
Okay. Can you talk about that? What does that mean? What is the Next Generation program?
Yeah. So there's a couple different ways to get in McDonald's. My parents were registered applicants, meaning just, people off the street register or apply.
Yeah.
And then you go through all the schools, which is actually a faster program than the Next Gen program. Takes significantly longer. You start as crew. No matter if you've been crew before or not, you start as crew and you start working through all the positions.
Oh, wow.
It takes anywhere from 3 to, 9 years. It depends on how long it takes you to complete all the stages of the program.
Oh, wow.
I entered the program formally in 2010. And then became an approved owner-operator in June of 2013.
So you have to be committed to doing this. This isn't a whim. This is like, I really want to do this.
Yeah, and I think that's partially why they require the next gens to take so much longer. Just because you grew up in it doesn't mean it's for you.
Yeah.
So, you have the time to prove it. So you work through all the crew positions and then and then crew trainer. And then area manager, and then you have to get verified out of that. And then you start going to the management classes. And then you are a shift manager for a period of time. Then you become a department manager. Once you've worked through all the departments and you've been a manager of all the departments and gone through all the schools there, then you become a general manager. Once you're a general manager, you have to be a general manager for 13 months. At least it was back then. The program has changed significantly since I went through it, probably many iterations, but you have to be a general manager for a minimum of 13 months, and that's if you can maintain a gold standard, which is a certain score that you have to score on all your assessments and all your visits and everything for 13 months. And if you fail or you step out of that gold standard range, then you basically start it over.
This is very strict.
So so then I was, once you get through that, then you become a supervisor. Uh-huh. If you have more than one location, if you're an owner with more than one location. So I became a supervisor of the 3 locations. And then that's when you really start the what they call the Next Gen program, because that's when you start, they start putting you on teams to lead teams for the region.
Okay.
Or the field office, so that you are working with or leading other owners. And
how big of a territory could that be, Michelle?
So at the time when I was going through it, we were called the Midwest region at the time, and it was based out of Minneapolis. And so that included Minnesota, Wisconsin, part of Illinois, Iowa, a couple stores in Nebraska and quite a few stores in South Dakota and some in North Dakota.
So when you were a general manager, right? It's not necessarily where your family had the restaurants. It could be anywhere.
Nope. You have to be a general manager for your parents. So
Okay.
you have to manage one of their restaurants.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then as a supervisor, same thing. You supervise their restaurants, but you start having to work on teams with other operators and seeing things outside the restaurant, leading other teams, presenting, that sort of thing. And then you go through an interview process with the directors of the region. So you interview with finance, you interview with real estate, you interview with.
Wow.
I'm trying to think of all the different teams, but all those different areas, just so that you can prove all your knowledge of all the different facets of the business.
How much of that would you say you already knew? Because again, yes, next gen program. Was a lot of that things you were familiar with, or were there things that you were learning for the first time?
No, there was definitely things I was learning for the first time. I was pretty squared away on marketing because that's actually what I did after college was marketing. And my first marketing job was doing marketing for local McDonald's businesses.
Yeah.
So I had the Des Moines market and the Quad Cities market and the Cedar Rapids market. Those were my markets that I did local marketing for.
Yeah.
So I was good on marketing, but you don't spend a lot of time working with finance or real estate or supply chain until you get to a supervisor higher level.
Yeah.
And a lot of it you don't even address until you become an operator. So it's important to prove business acumen before they make you a partner.
And when that happened and you learned a lot of those things, did it I don't want to say scare you, but did it challenge you where you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize this, or was something like, oh, okay, now I get it. You know what I mean? I
feel like it was more like okay, well that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now I get that. Now I get why we do that, or now the pieces are fitting together more, when you see the bigger picture.
Yeah, more aha moments.
How they all work together. Yeah, how
Sure.
McDonald's and the operators and all of supply chain and all the different suppliers, we call it our three-legged stool.
Yeah.
How the three legs work together to make the system work seamlessly.
It had to give you a better appreciation, I guess, for everything that your family had done, your parents had done all this time. Now you're like, okay, now I get it. And now I understand more of the behind the scenes.
Yeah. Well, my story's not that interesting, but my parents' story is extremely interesting and how they got into the business.
Yeah.
So, yes, definitely makes you go, wow, that's cool. So.
I don't necessarily want to compare franchises, but I know McDonald's has a storied history of, the franchise operation. And do you know if other franchises are set up in a similar manner to McDonald's in terms of going through steps and processes like you had to?
I really can't say. I have no idea.
And I say that only because it sounds like McDonald's really dedicates themselves to setting folks up for success, but also making you fully understand what you're getting into.
Yeah, I think they really just don't want, people who aren't, again, like I said, don't have good business acumen, who don't have good leadership skills, who aren't organized, who, doesn't have a customer first mindset.
Yeah.
They don't want to get too far down the road with those people. So they definitely have a very high standard of who they're moving into those roles.
I know historically we always used to hear of Hamburger University. Does that still exist?
It does. Today, I actually just sent 2 people last week.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. That's for when you become a general manager.
Uh-huh.
You have to attend Hamburger University within the first 6 months of becoming a general manager. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And real quick, what are the type of things that they might learn there?
So that's changed a lot too. Like when my mom went, it was 2 weeks, and you went through everything, all the equipment. You would learn all the equipment, how to tear it down, how to clean it, how to put it back together, how to troubleshoot everything.
Yeah.
When I went, it was a week long, and it was a little bit on equipment, but a ton on operations.
Yeah.
A lot on how you how you come up with an idea to improve your operations or to improve, things that you're doing for your people, how to approach your boss, how to put pen and paper on that to, make it a valuable suggestion, those kind of things, just working through how to come up with a business plan, all of those kind of things. Now, like the gals that I sent this last week, they spend a lot of time learning how to manage people and the different generations that you're going to manage, what's important to different people and how to approach different people and customers and how to work with people is the main focus of HU now, I think.
You mentioned before a marketing background, and that's what you were involved with. When you went through the whole process of learning every nook and cranny about the business and through the Next Gen program and all that, was there a certain area that you found more interesting that you kind of glommed onto?
Yeah, operations.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's actually it sounds funny, but it's actually so interesting in the restaurant on, like, say, a given day in the summer. This isn't going to be interesting to anybody but me. Like a given day in the summer, say you need 22 people to run a good lunch shift, in the summer. So you have to have 22 people show up on time. You got to get your aces in their places. They all need to know their role. And then if they do, and all things come together and it works, the way everybody works together and it moves through each step with the grill and the front team and the way everybody moves around each other and with each other to do every step that they need to complete the process over and over and over for every customer, over 100 times, maybe 150 times in an hour.
Yeah.
And they do that. It's actually really exciting and fun to be a part of it when it's all moving like it should. And it's also, it was always interesting for me to be able to stand back. Once I became a supervisor, then you don't necessarily work in the role. You get to stand back and see where the danger zones might be, where we might have a hiccup, where a customer might wait, or we might have an error, and what caused that, and get to analyze it and then fix it and work with your GM to help make it better.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
And I would imagine McDonald's is no different from any other franchises where you have expectations in terms of the whatever you want to call it, the serve time, the wait time,
absolutely,
getting it from order to customer. You've got those metrics that you have to follow. How often are you reviewed, I guess, if that's the right word? People come to check and see how you're doing at a particular location.
Well, I think with everything, being so technology has advanced us so much that as far as those metrics and measurements, they can see those every day.
Okay.
McDonald's can see those every day. Our franchise business partners can see those every day. We get weekly updates on how we're doing, how we're performing compared to, national numbers, field office numbers, RBU, which is our business unit.
Yeah.
As far as like visits with people, we get quarterly visits.
Okay.
Once a year, we have a really in-depth, full, floor-to-ceiling inspection that reviews. They come in and they review, business and equipment standards, building standards, operational standards, cleanliness standards, everything, head to toe, every restaurant once a year. And then you get a full equipment and building standard walk every 2 years, business review every 18 to 24 months, customer first visits regularly. I mean, it feels like it's constant. Food safety visits are, every 6 months planned and then unplanned visits. And so it's,
How was your business affected during COVID? Did you have much of a delay at all with supply chain, with getting product to the stores?
McDonald's is a heavy lifter when it comes to buying beef and potatoes and pork. So we were very blessed and lucky during COVID. We had very few supply chain hang-ups.
Yeah.
There was a time where there was some stores that might have had a break in supply on beef, and we did have a break in supply on bags, getting paper.
Okay.
So where we wouldn't have like the medium-sized bag that we use for most orders because it fits a meal really nicely.
Yeah.
We had a supply chain break for those.
Yeah.
And then we had a lot of, things on allocation. But we were not one of the businesses that were affected by supply chain as much. So we were very lucky. They do a good job of managing our supply chain and then also hedging prices. So
I'd imagine you have exclusive agreements with certain providers, I guess, that get you the food or equipment or stuff that you need in order to run the restaurant.
We use a lot of local suppliers.
Okay.
Every state or country that McDonald's operates in, they try and use local suppliers.
Yeah.
Like we buy, I could actually tell you the exact number from Iowa. I have it here of how much pork. Yeah. So we bought, we spent about $195 million on suppliers in Iowa across professional services, marketing, technology, food, packaging.
Wow.
In 2021, and we purchased more than 325 million of quality ingredients in Iowa and 143 million pounds of pork.
Oh, wow.
So we use local suppliers every state that we're in.
Yeah.
But with that being said, we do get prioritized when it's not just local, when it is like Tyson or some of our bigger suppliers. We do get prioritized over maybe some others just because of our size and spending.
How often do you get deliveries, Michelle? Is it on a daily basis?
No, twice a week. We get deliveries twice a week.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's something that you're involved with. And no, there's
not as
else?
much anymore. Every store has their own person that manages deliveries from the projections to submitting the order and then to receiving and checking in the order.
Mm-hmm.
Every individual store has a person that does that. Some of our trucks come at like 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
So
you don't have to be there to meet them, do you?
Somebody does.
Yeah.
Yep. We have some. We're blessed to have some very good quality people that are willing to be up at that hour and receive those trucks for us.
So you mentioned originally that you've expanded. You've got 7 locations. I'm curious as to how do you expand? You have 2, you have 3 locations. How do you get to 4, 5, 6, 7? Do you actively seek them out? Are they posted somewhere? How does it happen?
There's a couple different ways. Honestly, we had very good relationships. We have very good relationships with all the other operators in our business unit. They don't. That's one thing about McDonald's. You can't like zone hop. Like I can't go decide. Oh, I want stores in Kansas and buy stores in Kansas. You have to live in the communities that you operate in, so that you're involved.
Yes.
So that you're involved in the chamber. So that you're involved in, the local schools and the sports teams and the things going on in the communities. So that's one thing that they require. Mm-hmm. So good relationships with other owners and conversations with them about if you're ever going to retire, think of me and that sort of thing. And then they do. And then McDonald's you have to be approved for growth. Okay. And then other times McDonald's may reach out to you and say, hey, these stores are for sale. Would you be interested in purchasing them? Yeah. So, and
do you recall at all how long that took, like to acquire another location?
Just a few months. Yeah. If you're approved for growth, you always know what your status is on that. That's part of those reviews. So, I think when we bought Atumwa, I feel like we made the offer in October, and I think we took over the stores December 1st.
That's really fast. Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. And I don't know, this is kind of an on-the-spot question. Do you know today what it costs to operate, or what the franchise fee is for a McDonald's?
Yeah, you can look that up on McDonald's.com, but so it's not proprietary information. Yeah. The franchise fee that you pay to renew your franchise every 20 years is $45,000.
Every 20 years?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a 20-year agreement. Partnership. It's $45,000 renew. Now that's not what it costs to get in. That's not what it costs to buy the restaurant. Yeah. That's just to buy your franchise.
Yeah. Let's talk for a moment, Michelle, and you touched upon it just briefly there, connection to the community. You've been a wonderful partner with the Greater Burlington Partnership, and you've involved yourself in different things. Did that come easy to you, or was that is that something natural for you to want to get involved in the community and give back?
Certainly, and certainly easier in Burlington because I went to high school here.
Okay.
So I'm familiar with the places and the people and the schools. So a little bit more difficult as we expanded to try and be as equally involved in all the communities that we're in. We service, 5 communities. So we're in 5 different chambers, and then 14 different school districts.
Yeah.
With all the outside schools. So not just Fairfield, but Pekin, and all the different.
Sure.
So. It's more difficult to be as involved in some of the other communities where I don't actually reside. But my team, I have a lot of great mid-management team members. My director of operations lives in Ottumwa, and she's very involved in theirs and makes sure that we have our finger on the pulse and are contributing. And so she does that. And then my supervisor lives in Fairfield. And so same thing there.
Yeah.
So having the right people in the right places helps us facilitate those relationships.
Yeah. And I know McDonald's really does seem to be intentional about wanting to be connected and involved in the community. Can you talk about some of the initiatives and some of the things that you've been able to do?
Yeah. So, I feel like we have a little bit everywhere. Every operator has different things they're passionate about.
Yeah. Do you have freedom to pick and choose what you want to do in the community?
So you definitely do. Yeah, you support what's important to you. With RMHC being our primary place where we put a lot of dollars.
Yeah.
With Give a Hand promotions that we do in store, our canisters in the stores, our roundup for RMHC.
And that's Ronald McDonald House, right?
Yep, the Ronald McDonald House, and the local one that we support's the Eastern Iowa, the one in Iowa City, Eastern Iowa, Western Illinois, Ronald McDonald House.
Yeah.
So a lot of our support goes there. In March, February and March, we have the Shamrock Shake. We donate 25 cents from every Shamrock Shake sold, and it goes directly to the local Ronald McDonald House. So that doesn't even go up to national. All that money goes directly to the Ronald House. And then we have a penny per Happy Meal. So every Happy Meal sold, a penny goes. So that makes millions for the Ronald McDonald House. So that's our primary philanthropy that we give money to. But as far as locally, we're passionate about kids, conservation, sports.
Yeah.
So
I would think just with the Shamrock Shakes alone, the Ronald McDonald House has got to be doing really well, because who doesn't like a Shamrock Shake?
Everybody loves a Shamrock Shake. Those and McRibs, I tell you.
And that's the thing. McRibs, they come and they go, don't they?
They do.
Everybody loves them, and then they go away, and everybody laments, and the next thing you know, hey, it's coming back, and everybody gets all excited about it.
Yeah. But the excitement dies, absence makes the heart grow fonder. So I get asked that every year, why isn't the McRib on the menu year round? Because it won't sell year round.
Yeah.
Yeah, it won't sell year round.
Well, and I know you can't give trade secrets, but there is something about your French fries. There's something about McDonald's French fries that I can't get enough of them.
I'm the same way, actually. I shop the stores a lot. And I don't want to eat the whole thing, but if they are made right and they're hot like I expect, then it is hard to quit eating them. I won't lie. I'll finish the whole thing.
Well, that above all things, you have to make sure you get that right.
Yeah, that one's hard.
What type of awards can a franchise get? You said there's all those metrics and everybody comes for the visits and stuff. So what type of recognitions can you get? And I'm sure you've probably gotten them.
They give awards. We give awards to like general managers. If you go to HU, or you can get the Dean's List Award. For supervisors, or when you're a general manager going into supervision, you can earn the Outstanding General Manager Award, which is the top 10% of general managers in the U.S.
How about location itself? Can a location be recognized? I don't know if there's like a gold, silver, bronze.
Not
type
really,
thing.
no. Not really by location.
Okay.
An operator can be recognized for their operations, their people practices, building the business, contributions in their community, all those kind of things. But those are on an operator organizational level.
Yeah. And so you got recognized with general manager?
Yep, I earned the Outstanding General Manager Award when I was moving into supervision.
Woo woo!
Woo. My dad was adamant that I did so it was important that I met that challenge.
No, that's excellent. Question that I love to ask a lot of my guests, and it varies, of course, based on the industry that they're involved with. Do you have such a thing as a typical day with what you do?
I don't, but I kind of love that.
Yeah.
I mean, I love to know what I'm doing, like for the day, and have a plan. But every day looks a little different. There's just so many different areas that we have our finger in. I mean, I love the days when I get to be in the store with my team looking at operations. A lot of days put me in my office, like today in particular, looking at insurance quotes and trying to find tile for Wellshire. I don't know if you've noticed, but a storm took off a couple tiles on the front of the building, trying to find those tiles, track them down, get them ordered, and get, providers to help us repair. Every day looks different. Every day is a different challenge like that, trying to approach it. So it's fun, but
I would imagine there's such a thing as, are there meetings that you go to? I don't know if there's such a thing as an annual meeting.
Many meetings.
Okay.
A lot of days are filled with meetings. Yes.
Yeah.
And from our individual organization meetings that we have one tomorrow to meet with our teams and calibrate. To last week, I was at a board meeting for our business unit. I'm on the Field Alignment Council, so I help guide decisions that our field office makes, and those are in Chicago.
Okay.
And I'm on the National Operator Insurance Team.
Oh.
So 2 weeks ago, I was at a meeting for that. It was a week-long meeting, helping make decisions for the entire system on insurance. And then I'm on the operations team, so I advise and run those calls. I have one of those this afternoon.
You're really bored. You really have a lot of time on your hands, don't you?
Well, no. I don't, but that's okay. You make it work.
But you like doing that.
Yes, I do. A lot of them I enjoy. Insurance does not sound sexy, but it's actually a really good team. We make a lot of really heavy decisions for the system, and
sure.
So I'm proud of the work we do on that team. But there's always something to be doing.
I did insurance for 12 years, so I know that it's not the sexiest thing, but it's very important.
It is very important.
It is. And then does like the region ever get together? Is there like a huge McDonald's get together every now and then or every year?
There is. Every other year we have what we call Worldwide, which is something to see. It's really incredible. All the legs of the stool come together to put that on, and it's pretty fantastic. All suppliers come. They create whole restaurants inside buildings to show us what's coming. We see all the newest technology being used all over the world, new things that haven't come out yet. It's really cool. It's every other year, and this year is the year, and we go to Barcelona in April to see that. So that's going to be good. It should be really interesting and fun. Typically, it's in Orlando, Florida, so this year's we're going over the seas. And then we always have a national one for the U.S., and that's usually in Vegas. It was in October last year. It'll be in July this year. And then we also have the National Franchise Leadership Alliance has meetings every year as well. So we'll have those, and then we'll have a Chicago field office meeting to calibrate on our plans, and those are usually in the fall. Yeah.
It does keep you busy.
There's a lot.
Do you have such things as test kitchens?
We do.
Okay.
Yep, we do. I'm not on the food team.
Okay.
That's also through the NFLA. We love acronyms at McDonald's. I'm not on the food team, but they do have test kitchens, and one of our operators from here in Iowa, it leads the team.
Okay.
So we do get all the insider information on what they're working on and what they're taste testing, what they're piloting in different areas to see if it works. I don't know if you've read, but they're piloting and testing down in Texas, I believe it is, donuts. Krispy Kreme donuts.
Really?
And having a partnership with Krispy Kreme. So I don't know if that'll ever come to fruition. It's just something that they're testing right now in different restaurants. So we'll see how that goes. But yep, there are test kitchens. They try out all new sauces, get customer feedback, have customer trials. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, gosh, I could keep going on asking more questions, but we are out of time. This went so fast. But Michelle, I'm so thankful for you to come in today and to share everything, all things McDonald's that's going on. And I know we didn't reveal any secrets, so we were successful there too.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for your family's commitment to the area and for McDonald's and for what you do in the community, and just keep up the great work and keep having those Shamrock Shakes and the French fries being as delicious as they are.
Oh, I appreciate you having me in today.
Well, we appreciate you listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you listen to our podcast, and give us a call at the Greater Burlington Partnership if you have any suggestions on who you would like to hear interviewed in the future. Until then, we'll see you next time on All Things Greater Burlington.
Have been listening to All Things Greater Burlington with Steven Brody. Be sure to hit the subscribe button to catch all new episodes. To learn more about All Things Greater Burlington, visit greaterburlington.com/ATGB.